boys and girls, welcome to the Enchanted Reading Time with Mrs. Evans. It's a very special book today. It's called The Goodnight Kiss, and maybe you can read this right before you go to bed and you can get your goodnight kiss. So let's go ahead and try to find our title page. There's the title, but there's no other writing on there. It doesn't tell us who the author is. Oh, there it is. There's The Goodnight Kiss by Jim Aylesworth. He's the author, the guy that wrote the words. And today are pictures of a Walter Lyon Crudup. Crudup? I hope I said that right. He's the illustrator. And boy, are you going to see some great pictures today. Let's get started. On the night of the goodnight kiss, a small green frog peeks out from under a lily pad. And when that small green frog peeks out from under that lily pad, it sees an old raccoon sniffing along the pond bank, looking for something to eat. And when that old raccoon climbs over the trunk of a fallen cottonwood tree, it sees a deer drinking from the moonlit water. And when that deer walks back up across the meadows, it sees an owl flying toward an old red barn on the other side of the field. And when that owl lands on the open haymow door of that old barn, it sees a farmer climbing down from the seat of a great green tractor. And when that farmer crosses the barnyard on his way back to the house, he sees a man in a rusty pickup truck driving down the dusty gravel road. And when that man in the pickup truck pulls into a gas station out on the highway, he sees a man in a huge silver 18-wheeler coming to a stop at a red light. And when that truck driver passes beneath a railroad bridge, he sees a man in the window of a caboose at the end of a long freight train. Woo-hoo! And when that man in the caboose passes through the next town, he sees a man walking his dog along a darkened street of small stores and shops. And when that man with the dog comes to the next corner, he sees a woman in a blue car come to a stop at the stop sign. And when that woman in the blue car crosses the tracks and turns onto a quiet tree-lined street, she sees a cat out walking across the grass. And when that cat passes by a rose bush at the side of a house, it sees a snow-white moth flutter up to the light coming from the upstairs window. And when that snow-white moth lands on the screen of that lighted window, it sees a young child lying in a cozy bed, and a person who loves that child reading that child a storybook. And when that person who loves that child turns the last page in that storybook, that person leans over and gives that child a good night kiss. Good night. Isn't that a great story? Did you love the pictures? I hope that you did. There might be some things in there that you weren't quite sure of when they were talking. Let's take a look at them again. Lots of things happen to make something else happen, to make something else happen, to get us all the way to the good night kiss. So when we talked about an 18-wheeler, I pointed to this picture. You might know an 18-wheeler as a semi-truck. They're the big trucks on the highway that brings lots of goods like food, furniture, lots of big things across from one state to another. And sometimes other things. I wonder what you think a truck might be hauling. That's something to think about. But they're called 18-wheelers, and they're also called semi-trucks. And then in this, you can see the semi-truck here. It talked about a train, and I don't know if we see trains very much anymore, but at the end of a freight train, which also carries things like food and furniture and things like that from one place to another, at the end of a train, sometimes there's a caboose, and that's what a caboose is. It's a little red car at the end, and that people can sleep in there and eat in there who are taking care of the train. So that is very interesting. There's lots of things in here that are very interesting, and the pictures are very interesting too. A lot of the story happens at night, so the pictures are very dark, so you have to look very closely at what's going on. So when we get to the end, we know that person who's reading the book loves that child and gives them a good night kiss. Here's your good night kiss. Good night, boys and girls.